final request, is this frequency in use, please? Is this frequency in use, please? M0JCF. Nothing is heard. CQ, CQ, CQ40, 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 CQ40. This is Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie Foxtrot. Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie Foxtrot, calling 40. CQ, CQ40, 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 CQ40. This is Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot. Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot, calling 40. Is that M0 Delta Sugar Radio, I think. M0 DSR, M0 JCF. The name is Mark in Sidcup in Kent. Back to you, M0 DSR, M0 JCF. Yeah, Roger, Nick. Well, I'm very pleased that you've come back to me, because I'm also using an old radio. I'm using an old Tec Argosy 525. Now, I'm not too sure on the year, but it's got to be easily late 70s, possibly early 80s. I think late 70s for this model. I'd have to double check. I only got it 2 days ago, and this is the first time I've CQ'd on it. And I'll give you a report on the next over, and then I just want to confirm the frequency I'm on. I believe I'm on 7175, yeah, 7175 LSB, but just correct me if I'm a little bit off. I may be a little bit off frequency. So, and as I say, I'll give you a report on the next over, but we're using 30 watts here and a 90-foot long wire. So back to you, M0 DSR, M0 JCF.
Okay, Roger, no problem at all. I'll say you about 57. I'm telling you from inverted V dipole for 40 and 30 metres. And the facility was an old Trio CS 510 with a pair of 6146 valves. About 100 watts output, about 100 watts output, running barefoot. You're certainly working well, good audio, good clear. I'm not quite sure what frequency mine's on. It's only a rotary dial, it's got no digital readout. But it's not too far off 175, sort of there about M0 DSR.
Yeah, M0 DSR, M0 JCF. Okay, Nick, well, it does sound like the blind leading the blind there. As I say, I've used it once on 20 metres, and I just come on to 40 metres. I do like 40 metres late in the day, and band conditions have been a bit rough at the moment. But yeah, this radio's got no digital readout. It's just a dial and a dial ring, and I've got it, checked it with a frequency counter, and I'm as near to 175 as I can get it, and I just wanted to double check. But it's lovely to hear you on that old radio there. You're 5 and 9 signal wise. Audio is nice and clear. I can hear you really well. I've got lots of old radios here myself that are valve or hybrid. I regularly use a TS 520S. I've got 2 of those now. I've got a Swan 350 and a Swan 400, both from sort of the mid to late 60s, and then I've got a pair of summer camps, which are the Yaesu FL and FR 100B, which are also like completely valve driven as well. So they're all in for restoration though. I mean, they're long-term projects. I'm sort of future proofing my retirement, as it were, in a year or two. And yeah, these Argosys, they actually came to me. I've got 2 of them. They came to me on Tuesday as a swap, believe it or not, for an auto tuner kit. You know, the Chinese ones you can get. I was offering it up at my club, just for swaps, because I had several of them, and somebody just said, I've got these two old Argosies, would they interest you? And I said, yeah, go for it. And I offered him a bit more equipment as well, and I got these two beautiful transceivers from the days gone by, and just tonight was the first time that I've sort of used it in anger. So running about 30 watts at the moment into the long wire, and was really pleased that you come back as quick as you did. Back to you there, M0 DSR, M0 JCF.
When I was 15, 14, 15 for Christmas present. But I did sell it, but I managed to get it back again. So I'm now 43, so I've had it a while, and it's certainly been good going to get it back up to scratch and back working and things like that. Because we did develop a fault, and somebody had it and made a modification on it and didn't do it quite right, so every time he started tuning up, it melted the bottle. But we got there in the end and got everything back, and I just made a CW contact on it and just flicked through the band, and I used to call into Q, so I thought I'd say hello and test it out to see if the SSD side still works. It's got to be 2 years since I've last turned it on either.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, for something that has been fired up for 2 years and something that is of an age, I mean, it's sounding really good. Like all of the transmitters of that era, it's quite high on the audio, there isn't a lot of bass. And I think that works really well on 40 metres this evening, because I've got S8 noise, which is unusual for me. I mean, I get S5, F6 normally. As I say, it could just be this radio, but, you're coming through the noise and a little bit of QRM from nearby stations. So, it's working really, really well. And I'm just pleased that this thing's getting out. As I say, I've got two of them. One of them has got a finals problem, the final linear amplifier stuff. So it will only run 5 watts, but that's not a problem. I'll look into that one. The other thing that they've got as well is they've got mechanical band scales. So the strings have both gone on them, so they've got to be replaced. So I sort of know the band that I'm on, but then it's lining everything up, and it's just like the old days. You just got to know where you are and double check, make sure that A, you're not out of band, or B, you're not sort of treading on someone's toes in the CW section or something ridiculous like that. But once you've got it sorted, it's not too bad. They're a little bit quirky to drive. As I say, I've never had a 10 Tec before, and now I've got two of them sort of sitting in front of me. So they are sort of not as intuitive when you very first switch them on of what goes where. And I mean, like for instance, I'm using the notch filter to actually get rid of some of the background noise. Now, I never do that unless, obviously it's a tone, it's a heterodyne or something, but it works really well as a noise blanker. So, I'm using that at the moment. The ALC light's probably coming on a little bit more than I would like. So, it's, excuse me for coughing. It probably wants the drive just backing off just slightly. As I say, it's down to 30 watts, and it's not on permanently, the ALC light. So I need to read the manual. That's the thing that I should do, is read the manual. Anyway, I tend to rabbit on, Nick, and I could lose you in some QSB or the noise. So over to you, M0 DSR, M0 JCF.
Okay, no problem. I say it's certainly working well. But I've still got it somewhere, a little frequency counter that I used to put in line, to put a couple of coils on the sniffer, on the coax, into the sniffer circuit, and it used to tell me where I was on those, because you have to tune up anyway. Obviously with it being valve, plate and load, you have to tune it up anyway, so that generally gives you an idea of where you are. But as you were calling CQ, well, that's both of us out of band. I just trusted you over.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. No, actually, I do have an RF sniffer. It's a, a little, well, it runs from almost DC to 2.8 gigahertz, little RF sniffer, and it's a great frequency counter. It's very, very accurate, and I sort of basically tuned in on that. I'm always sort of nervous at first with anything like this that, I could be, I don't know, 7.205 or something like that, or 6.995, or something ridiculous. But it was pretty much on the ball, and I knew that I was on about 175. So as I say, I trusted myself. Plus I could hear Europeans above and below me, so I knew that I was probably in band. I'm not saying definitely, but as I say, it's an odd beast to drive, and I'll get used to it. But I do have a TS520S. That's a hybrid, and I use that quite regular, and that's a lovely rig to run. And once again, it's got all of the quirks and foibles of a valve transmitter with your load plate and drive, and obviously you've got things like the carrier and everything. And like once it's all set up though, they're fantastic. As I say, for the Swan 350 and the Swan 400, they're future projects. The Swan 400 needs a VFO, and I'll probably build an electronic VFO for that, just for the stability. I might even just buy one of those DDS kits and drive it with that, The Swan 350 needs a power supply. Well, luckily I've got a transformer and a filament transformer, so I can build the power supply. I've got a Kodar AT5 that I've restored, but I need to finish a power supply for that. And as I say, the two summer camps, all they do is light up. I mean, that's literally all they do at the moment. So they're going to need lots of work. Plus, in those, they've got mechanical filters as well, which could be a nightmare in itself. But, I've got lots of other radios that I use, Nick. I've got an IC740, a TS590S, an IC7300. Everyone in the world seems to have one of them now. And I only bought it because everyone else has got one. And I used to wax lyrical out, you don't need band scopes, you don't need this, you don't need that. All you need is your ears and a careful finger. And I thought to myself, it's a bit churlish. It's a bit off, sort of having a go at these people that use the radios, and I've never tried one myself, so I bought one on a whim, and I've only used it on 6 meters so far. But that's the story, mate. I've got lots of homebrew gear as well. I like, as well as the old restorations, I like all my homebrew gear. I like to build. I mean, some of them are from kits, like the True SDX. I've built a couple of those now into tobacco tins, etc. And I'm building a top band AM transmitter. That's all my own design, but it's a classic design, a Colpitts oscillator for your RF generation, a buffer amplifier, then you've got your microphone amplifier, mixer, and then a bit of a low pass filtering and an RF like output stage. Only 500 milliwatts, but I just want to get on top band AM and then develop it on from there. And I've also started building a dual band 40 meter 80 meter SSB transmitters, so it's switchable, but they're not transceivers, they are transmitters. But I build lots of receivers and stuff like that, so I'm a bit of a mix and match and just experiment, I suppose, and a lot of it poke and oak maybe, but that's the story, mate. But it's good, and it's really good to work you on that old kit as well. As I say, sounding good. You come up to 5 and 9 plus 10 on the last over, and I didn't catch the QTH though, Nick, so I'm just wondering what your QTH is. I'm Sidcup in Kent, which is about 15 miles southeast of London, so just wondering on the QTH there, mate. M0 DSR, M0 JCF.
Yeah, okay. No problem at all. Just remind me of your call. It's JCF. Juliet Tango X-Ray. Juliet Tango X-Ray. I think I look at noise every time you say it, so I keep missing the last bit. But yeah, okay, how's the first side of Kent?
Location is Stoke-on-Trent, just outside the city of Stoke-on-Trent. So, it's a fair distance away, but I say it's the location. Just about 5 miles outside the city of Stoke-on-Trent, over.
Yeah, Roger, Roger. The call sign is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. So that's Japan, Canada, Florida. If you want it in European speak, and no problem. Yeah, I've been just using letters. That was my fault. I should have used more phonetics there. And yeah, Stoke-on-Trent. I know it. Just off the A50. I go past it quite often. If ever I'm going to Knowsley, which is up near Liverpool for work, then I quite often get to go up the M1, turn left on the A50, and I follow the A50 right across, you know, past Derby and Stoke-on-Trent, and then pick up the M6 there and then carry on north. And I've got a site that I used to go to in Stoke-on-Trent quite often. But of course, it's famous for the potteries, isn't it? You know, and you know, for everything else that goes around it, obviously it's famous for the potteries, and that's how I know it as a kid. But as an adult, yeah, I've driven past it many times, and I've noticed over the years gradually the roads changing, and as they're building like bypasses and things like that. But it's always choked up. I always end up coming through probably about, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning is when I'm coming past Derby and Stoke on the A50, and that's when I always seem to catch every other person in the world going to work at that time of the morning. And as you know, you've got a few passes now where it sort of dips down, and it's quite new brickwork everywhere. I'm sure you know where I mean. Not too far away, I suppose, from the M6, and that's where I always catch the traffic there. So yeah, I know where you are there, Nick. Mike 0 Delta Sierra Radio. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot.
Okay, no problem. Right, I'm going to keep on if you don't mind. Start to lose the noise a bit. Signal's going down and the noise is coming up, and some stronger stations are coming on and making it hard to hear you. So it's nice speaking to you. Say the radio is certainly doing a good job. And if you get caught the A50, we'd more or less drive past my place. Just that, well, slide big line is, so you get on it, you talk to, well, so you talk on the A50 to the end, and then turn left and around about, I'm pretty much there. So, that's where we are. But right, we'll see off, we'll say 7 feet. Nice speaking to you again, and hopefully speak to you again in the future. And all that. It's the Mike 0 Delta Sugar Radio. 7 feet now.
Yeah, M0 DSR, M0 JCF. Nick, it was an absolute pleasure. Really glad that you come back to me just to prove that the radio will hold up under, scrutiny, as it were. And for all its little quirks and foibles and the little faults that are with it, I'm happy with the way it's operating at this moment in time. Just to let you know, mate, you're drifting very slightly. Obviously, as you'd expect those radios to. I've been following you with the RIT very slightly. You've probably drifted about 100 hertz, unless of course it's my receiver that's drifted, which wouldn't surprise me, but you've drifted about 100 hertz. Anyway, very best 73 to you and yours, and thanks for the rag chew. It was really good of you, and I look forward to the next one, and I'll say bye bye for now. 73 old chap. M0 DSR, M0 JCF going clear.
Okay, no problem. 70. Yeah, well, I'm taking you up the van slowly. I have to keep tweaking it just to receive you. So one of us is going somewhere, but as long as we're both in the same direction, that's fine. 7 feet for now, all the best.
Yeah, cheers, mate, and I really appreciate it. Always come back and give me a shout, especially if I'm using a different radio. QRZ. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, southeast of England. Okay, I got the Victor Oscar Foxtrot. I didn't catch the prefix. Apologies, old chap. M0 JCF listening.
Yeah, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot from 2A0 VOF, Victor Oscar Foxtrot. And the operator name is Patty Papa Alpha Delta
Delta Yankee, roger.
Roger, Roger, Paddy. 2 India 0, Victor Oscar Foxtrot. This is Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. And a very good evening to you. The name is Mark, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo. I'm in Sidcup in Kent, down in the southeast of England, about 15 miles southeast of the city of London. And I'll give you a report on the next over, but you're up around 5 and 9 there. And if you give me your name and a rough location in Northern Ireland, and we'll go from there. 2I0 VOF M0 JCF.
Yeah, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot from 2I0 VOF. The location, Mark, is about 17 miles south of the capital. Beautiful here in Northern Ireland. The X-ray today was quite nice. Around about 21 Celsius today there. So it was quite a good day there for afternoon. 27s and 26s there we were getting there last week. But yes, so Mark, we're getting a lovely weather and there's beautiful evening. I'm on out for a bit of a walk there on Martin. So lovely to get the contact with you here. We're running an old hybrid radio here. An old PS530S here. And the microphone is the Shure 444D. And we're running 50 watts in telephone size Delta loop here, Mark, on this side. Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot from 2I0 VOF, roger?
Yeah, 2I0 VOF M0 JCF. Paddy, absolutely superb, mate. 5 and 9 all the way. A great audio, and I love your style with the radio with the TS 530S. I use quite often a TS 520S, so it's older brother, the one without the digital readout. And yeah, your 50 watts doing really well, as I say. A 5 and 9, absolutely no problems, and the audio's great as well. I'm using a 10 Tec Argosy 525. Not sure on the age of the radio. I believe it's either late 70s, early 80s. I'll have to have a look at the dates on these. I come by these radios on Tuesday. Somebody swapped me 2 of these radios, both with various quirky faults on them. 2 of these, plus a 10 Tec CW paddle, and a few other bits and pieces. And he swapped me. I had a tuner and some other bits. And we just did a swap, you know. Basically, I was giving away to my club, you know, anyone who wanted to swap these bits that I had. And he said, I've got these 2 Argosys. They've got a few faults and problems. Are you interested? And, you know, I love all my old radio gear, Paddy. So that's what I did, is I just, I blagged these 2 radios on Tuesday. And tonight was the first night that I've used them. And I just thought I'd give them a bit of a shout out. This one's running about 30 watts at the moment. I've seen it peak at 50 watts on 20 meters, but I'm going through a tuner, just an MFJ tuner, and I see it's peaking at about 30 watts, maybe 40 watts, into a 90-foot long wire. So that's the story this side, mate. The equipment that I'm using. WX today, lovely and sunny, high 20s, I'd say about 27 today, which is you know, quite low compared to what we've been having here in the southeast. We've just had 2 days of rain, which was quite refreshing, but we've had obviously several weeks of the temperature consistently in the 30s. And of course, we peaked around 41 a couple of weeks ago. So that's the story, mate. It's been a nice day here. Back to you, 2I0 VOF M0 JCF.
Yeah, all copies, Mark. 5 and 5, 5 and 6, 5 and 7. We've got a wee bit of noise on my side, Mark. I'm getting a wee bit of noise here. I always do on 40 there. But lovely to speak to you, Mark, on the 10 tax walk, and absolutely good, all right there. Yeah, some of the 10 tax are lovely radios indeed there. So, Mark, lovely to get the contact with you. I'll not hold you anymore there, in case there's somebody else looking in, Mark. 7-3 from Northern Ireland, Mark. Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot from 2I0 VOF, Mark. 7-3, take care, God bless, brother.
Yeah, 2I0 VOF, M0 JCF coming back for that final. Paddy, it was an absolute pleasure to speak to you. An absolute pleasure to hear you on that fine old TS530S as well. Just keep that old girl going, mate. We've got to keep all of these old radios out of landfills. I've got stacks and stacks of them. Whether I'll ever finish them, whether I'll ever get them all on air, I don't know. But we've got to keep them out of landfill, mate. The new radios are absolutely fine. There's no problem with them. I've got several, but we got to keep this old stuff, and with all that lovely glassware inside it, we got to keep it all out of the trash heap and keep it all out the landfill. Take care. Very best 73, and 73 to the whole family there in Northern Ireland. You take care, and look forward to the next rag chew with him, mate. Bye bye for now. 2I0 VOF M0 JCF going clear.
Yeah, Mark, I refurbished two of them here, two 530s. I've got them side by side here, Mark, and they were ready for the dump. They were ready for the bin, Mark, but we recollected them again and got them up working. So they're sitting here like they're showing in condition too, Mark. 7-3, take care, bye.
Yeah, cheers, and you take care, Paddy. Until the next time, have a great weekend. This is Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie Foxtrot, southeast of England, saying QRZ. Okay, nothing is heard. M0 JCF is now going QRT for a short while. This frequency is clear for use. This frequency is clear for use.